Yay.
Hey, I'm back, and video game controllers. Often overlooked like it's just a bit of plastic. Need a new one? Well, this one's only $10. How can it be any different to the official? Oh god, it hurts. Now, video game controllers have been around since the dawn of time. Like, how are you gonna move this mess of pixels around? With your mind? So, they created a stick. Alright guys, a stick is great, but we need to be able to shoot. Games are only fun when you can shoot.
A button?
That'll do. There were others, but I see the gaming industry before Nintendo as the before times, and I just hate talking about it. Like, what is this, an ancient history lesson? Get out. Anyway, so 1985 rolls around, and Nintendo does something incredible.
How about 2 red buttons?
It can't be done! I think the controller for this is much more iconic than the Atari stick. Maybe because Nintendo isn't chilling out in Bankrupt City. Speaking of Bankrupt City, sneaky Sega, looking at a third-party NES controller, has an idea. What if 3 buttons? Mate, that's too many.
Okay. What if we didn't make them red?
Alright, we could probably handle that. Boom, Mega Drive controller. Nintendo, in a full panic mode after Sega's controller launched them into the lead in the console market, had to do something drastic. Alright, we're gonna beat Sega. How about 4 buttons? Multicolored! Sega crashes and burns. Stocks plummet. Even Sonic can't keep up with the rapid evolution of video game controllers. And with that, Sega fades away after releasing 2 more god-awful controllers. Now, I'm not saying controllers are the reason why Sega failed in the console wars, but it was. Peace was finally in the world. Nintendo is developing an add-on for the SNES with Sony. Sony is just loving Nintendo and their 4-button controller. And where'd they go? Nintendo! Our controller's gonna have thighs and 8 buttons. PlayStation's gonna make a controller with 8 buttons. We've got this in the bag. We can do whatever we want. No, you can't, Nintendo. Sony, with the PlayStation, takes the lead. Continue its padding of doubling whatever Nintendo has. But now it's time for the next generation. PlayStation and Nintendo are facing off in the battle of best controllers. Nintendo completely redesigning their controller, more in line with the PlayStation and something more simple, but adding a little extra tricks to make using it feel so much better for certain games. PlayStation gets all its greatest designers and engineers all together in one room, fires them all in the spot, and sells the same controller again. Wait, what's that over the horizon? Oh my god, it's Xbox. It's big. Anyway, we finally make it to the era of video game controllers I actually care about. The PS3, the 360, and the Wii. The 360, creating one of the most beloved controllers. Everything is just so smooth. Personally, I don't like the stick layout, but it has never affected my enjoyment with it. The D-pad is solid. I would like it to move around a little less, just like holding butter with warm hands. Next up is Nintendo, with its simple yet effective design. For anyone who says controllers don't matter, just look at the Wii. The whole reason it sold was the controller. Imagine playing Wii Sports with this. Yeah, I didn't think so. The TV remote design was so recognizable to the masses. And it's so good that my TV remote is actually a Wii remote. Small children like myself at the time loved how the actions would translate onto the screen. That's when I realized I'm in the future, which is why I got a PS3, and it just came with a wireless PS1 controller. But now with motion controls. It's so small. The start and select buttons never feel like you're really pressing, but the best thing PlayStation continues to do is provide the best D-pad. But what if PlayStation took everything I love with the Wii remote and put it into their own controller? Oh my god, my wishes actually came true! Besides the part where they took everything I liked about the Wii remote and they just kind of threw them out the window? Why is this top bit squishy? Why do the buttons feel like I'm clicking a pen? And why on earth did they bring this back for VR? But then there's Xbox, looking over on the other two's fancy magic wands and thinks, what if there wasn't a controller? This controller sucks, it's full of anxiety and won't shut up. But now we move on to the big boys. DualShock 4 versus the Wii U gamepad versus whatever Xbox calls their controller. DualShock 4. Bigger, comfortable, filled with underused gimmicks, great D-pad, it's perfect. Triggers feel a bit small, but all the buttons are nice and clicky. Problems start when you've had one of these for a while. My red and alpine controllers don't charge, my original white controller has a broken D-pad, and my crystal blue button has very sticky buttons. These are probably easy fixes, but I own 5 controllers and 4 of them already have issues, so it really says something about the build quality. It's too bad because I think it's the best base controller so far. Next we got the Switch Pro. I actually like this thing. I don't have my Wii U hooked up to the TV, but having a semi-portable Nintendo 64 and Wii is pretty cool. You can watch TV while playing Donkey Kong 64, and on Wii U games, having it when it's just a map or an inventory screen, it's really nice to have. Too bad they had to ruin it with so many weird gameplay gimmicks like in Star Fox. How did they mess it up so bad? You've been developing on a system with 2 screens for over a decade. Then, we come to the Xbox One controller. What the hell does 2 boxes and 3 lines mean? D-pad is awful, triggers are pointy, sticks make too much noise hitting the plastic.
But now, it's a battle in the current generation.
DualSense versus Joy-Cons versus Xbox controller. Again. Now I've talked positively about the dents in my PS5 review, but I'm starting to have a lot of issues with it. A lot of news about stick drift has come out, and one of mine has a broken trigger, I think from the adaptive trigger effect, playing Call of Duty, but everything else on the controller is perfect. It's a little sad I have to turn off the adaptive triggers just to have my controller last longer, and I'm essentially one down, because every now and again the trigger will just think it's press and skip through movies or fire randomly in a game. So the perfect controller with terrible build quality. Speaking of terrible build quality, the Switch Joy-Cons. These things are so cool how they can turn into so many things. A bit small for anyone over the age of 3, but again, shocking build quality, and Nintendo's refusal to acknowledge the problem for so long just angers me. But the shiny beacon of quality this time is actually Xbox. Now, Xbox controllers have always felt a little cheap, but tend to hold the test of time. None of mine have major issues, which is saying something since some of these are over a decade old. But man, the new Xbox controller is perfect. Design is basically the same, but the grip on the back feels so premium. D-pad is fixed, sticks make less noise, haptic triggers are actually noticeable now, and since I'm not using the adaptive triggers in the DualSense now, I would say this is the best controller of the generation. It's good to see Xbox is still number 1 for controllers, because man, the fans need something to hold on, while PlayStation fans are having fun playing Uncharted with their broken controllers. So, that's controllers, the overlooked heroes in the gaming world. Without them, we would still be playing games with board game pieces.